Hey guys, I'm Robin O'Neill. I'm a visual artist, and I'm the host of Me Reading Stuff, which is what you're tuning into right now. Whether you think you like poetry or not, dear listeners, you're welcome here. I'm speaking to any newcomers here. It's under the literature category, which intimidates some people, which scares some people, which bores other people. But guess what? This is for everybody. This is a safe place here at Me Reading Stuff to explore your emotions, your loves, your hates, your thoughts about your parents, your ideas about what makes something interesting to you personally. We talk about life. We talk about death. We talk about bananas. We talk about apples. We talk about drinking water. We talk about a lot of things I love. We do it quickly. These are all 10 minutes or less. I got a cough. We do that. We cough right in the mic. Occasionally, I go a little over 10 minutes, and I'm sorry. It gets hard lately since I'm doing this once a week. Hey, shout out to everyone in prison. Shout out to everyone with ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. Shout out to the hikers, for I know not what you're doing. I really don't, but I think about you anyway. Shout out to the AC repair guys and all the old people taking walks when they can barely walk at all. I live near some retirement homes, and I see that all the time, and I love it. Shout out to anybody transitioning. Shout out to all of us, because we're all doing our best. That's my favorite thing to remind people of, even though it bothers me every time I say it, but people really are doing their best. What do you think? People are walking around purposely doing horrible things to other people? Well, yeah, we can make a case for that too. So forget what I said. People are doing shitty, and they know it. So just focus on yourself, okay? Don't focus on those other people. That's what I would recommend to you. Whoa, we're 2 minutes in. You know, sometimes I take notes about what I want to say, but they're usually just like one word or two words written down. And I wrote down shoes and pharmacy. And all that is, I'm just going to sum that up really quick. I'm wearing shoes right now, which I hate. I hate wearing shoes. It's just never been my thing. I'm claustrophobic on my feet specifically. Like, I just like them to be able to breathe all the time. I work from home. I almost never leave the studio and house, so I don't have to wear shoes that often. I feel lucky about that. I swear that might be the reason I ended up doing what I do for a living, because I don't want to wear shoes. And you can't get away with that, except for like athletic jobs that there's no way in hell I'm going to do, like being a surfer or something, or a lifeguard. What other jobs are there where you can just not wear shoes? I don't know. Not many. This is one of them. I'm living it and loving it. And the only reason I have shoes on is because I'm trying to get this posted and out to you guys, because I got to go to the pharmacy. And I've had a really blissful week of working really hard. And I have to stretch right now, and then I got to go and do a bunch of errands. So I'm not looking forward to that. We are going to be reading Joe Brainard. Remember back in an episode I had about quatrains, or maybe one or two. Yeah, it was about 1 and 2 line poetry. It was also Catullus and Anna Akhmatova. I read you a 2-line Joe Brainard poem that I really love. It goes, with history piling up so fast, almost every day is the anniversary of something awful. Amen, Joe Brainard. Joe Brainard, born 1942, died in 1994. You also know him as an artist. He's an artist and writer associated with the New York School. There's also this film. I think I mentioned this last time, and only one person, hi Matthew, got back to me about it. There's a film. It's actually called I Remember, which is the title of his most famous work, which is what I'm going to be reading from today. And I keep hearing great things about the film. In fact, even when I bought this book, the woman at the front desk said, "Ooh, have you seen the film?" And I said, "No, God damn it. Everyone has except me." But back to the book. My copy is by Granary Books Incorporate. Why am I saying it's by Granary Books? You can find it on granarybooks.com. It was first published in 1975. My copy was published in 2001. I'll put a link in the description of this podcast so that you can find it. You know, on the one hand, what he's done in this book is so obvious. In it, Brainard deconstructs his life for us in a series of very brief entries. Every one of them begins with the words, I remember. And yet somehow, no one had done this quite like this before him. The book, I'm going to be reading you little excerpts, but this is a 170-page book. Let's start here. I remember wondering why anyone would want to be a doctor, and I still do. I remember always getting in trouble for giving everything away. I remember really getting in trouble once for trading a lot of expensive toys for a rock and a pocket knife. I remember a girl in grade school who had shiny legs that were cracked like a Chinese vase. I remember burying some things in the dirt once, thinking that someday someone would find them and it would be a great surprise. But a few days later, I dug them up myself. I remember square dancing in the Texas Star. I remember an old royal blue taffeta formal my sister had for playing dress-up in, and I remember dressing up in it. I remember hand-me-downs. I remember Pig Latin. I remember reading 12 books every summer so as to get a certificate from the local library. I didn't give a shit about reading, but I loved getting certificates. I remember picking books with a big print and lots of pictures. I remember earaches, cotton, and hot oil. I remember not liking mashed potatoes if there was a single lump in them. I remember Howdy Doody and Queen for a Day. I remember taking an IQ test and coming out below average. I've never told anybody that before. I remember pedal pushers. I remember thinking about whether or not one should kill flies. I remember giving myself 2 or 3 wishes and trying to figure out what they would be, like $1 million, no more polio, and world peace. I remember locker rooms and locker room smells. I remember a dark green cement floor covered with wet footprints going in all different directions, thin white towels, and not looking around too much. Hold on a second. I'm skipping around, obviously. I remember the organ music from As the World Turns. I remember white buck shoes with thin pink rubber soles. I remember living rooms, all one color. I remember summer naps of no sleeping and Kool-Aid. I remember reading Van Gogh's letters to Theo. I remember daydreams of dying and how unhappy everybody would be. I remember daydreams of committing suicide and of the letter I would leave behind. I remember daydreams of being a dancer and being able to leap higher than anybody thought was humanly possible. I remember daydreams of being a singer all alone on a big stage with no scenery, just one spotlight on me, singing my heart out and moving my audience to total tears of love and affection. I remember driving in cars and doing landscape paintings in my head. I still do that. I remember the tiger lilies alongside the house. I found a dime among them once. I remember a very little doll I lost under the front porch and never found. I remember a man who came around with a pony and a cowboy hat and a camera. For so much money, he would take your picture on the pony wearing the hat. I remember the sound of the ice cream man coming. I remember once losing my nickel in the grass before he made it to my house. I remember that life was just as serious then as it is now. God, that last line breaks my heart. How good is this, you guys? And then I had this thought, this is how this book works. You start thinking about yours. When we were kids, I remember something so devastating. Every time I think of this, I just want to die. I lived in Nebraska and kind of not in the country, but on the outskirts of Omaha, and we had lots of land around us and a forest behind us and stuff. And we had tons of fireflies in the summer. And I remember it was normal. We would kill the fireflies while they were still glowing, and you could paint your face with that glowing. So we were all running around with these marks on our face, glowing in the dark. So devastating. I hate that I killed those beautiful bugs, but it's a pretty remarkable image. Wow, I'm going overboard. I'm sorry. Well, hey, you know what? I think that this book is a fantastic writing manual, actually. So if you want to, hit me up on Instagram or Twitter. My handle is ROBYN_ONEIL. And in the comments on Instagram or on Twitter, just tell me what you remember in quick little lines. That would be fun for all of us. I really want you guys to do that. This is the first assignment I've ever given you guys on me reading stuff, but I think it's a good one. That's it. That's all I've got today. I love you, as usual. Keep dying, keep writing it down. I'll see you guys again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.